All right, so let's move on here to part two of time travel. So we left off working with layout. If you still have this menu open down here, if you just click on this title, that'll get rid of that. But for this stage, we're going to get a second view controller added, get the class hooked up correctly, and then start making our way towards segueing from one view to the next. All right, so let's do this. So now as we look at our full app right now, we've got one app. It's embedded in this navigation controller. And our goal is we want to be able to click on these two. Let me zoom in here. We want to be able to click on these buttons and move from this screen to a new screen by pressing these buttons. So the first thing we need is to put a view controller into to move to. So down in our object library, go ahead and type in view down here. We want to look for this view controller option right here. So we're going to take this out. We're going to drag to our storyboard, put it right next to it, and go ahead and let go. So you can see we got a view controller ready to go. It's blank, it's an empty slate here. All right, but the problem right now is we don't have any code or any file associated with it. View controller is hooked up to this Swift file. All right, but right now this view controller does not have a file here. So we're going to make a new one. So we're going to either go File New, all right, or you can just go Command New. Either way, we'll get to this view. Make sure we're in iOS. We want to create a new Cocoa Touch class. Click Next. We want to give it a name here. Make sure that your subclass is UI view controller, and we can just call this second view controller. Okay, so basically subclass of, we've talked about this before, but again, basically second view controller is going to get all of its properties from the UI view controller class. Again, there's all different classes and things you can subclass from it. For this one, make sure we're in UI view controller. Make sure the language is Swift. Big time there. Click Next. Screen check. Make sure your group does not look like this. We want to make sure it's inside this little file folder, the manila folder, so make sure your screen looks like that. Click Create, and then you'll notice second view controller opens up here, and we're now inside our code file. We got the second view controller class, which is subclassing from UI view controller. Everything else, again, we'll talk about the rest of this code in a moment here. Let's go back out to the storyboard and get the things hooked up here. Okay, so now we want to create a segue. So a segue is what we call moving from one view to the next here. All right, and this is a very important step that we got to hook up correctly here. Okay, so before we do anything, though, there's actually one more thing I want to cover. All right, and then we'll get back to it here. So let's go ahead and let's click on the view controller, because right now this view controller on the storyboard not connected with our code file. All right, so at this point we would not be able to hook up outlets or anything to second view controller.swift. So to make that happen, we need to come over here. We're going to click on the third icon, and this is called the Identity Inspector. And then we got to hook up our class here. Let me move that over. All right, right here. So if we start typing in second view controller, it's going to give us the ability to autocomplete, so we can hit enter. And now you'll notice this one's now called second view controller. All right, very important you do that, and a lot of times that's usually the reason for it. Errors when things aren't working is you forget to hook up the view controller to its class. So I can't emphasize that enough. Make sure you always do that. We get a little warning right now. Basically, it's saying that this second view controller is unreachable. We're going to fix that here momentarily, but for right now, I just wanted to focus on getting our second view controller made, which we did, and then we went to the storyboard and we hooked our view controller up to the class file, and we're just about ready to rock and roll and getting our segues in place. But we're gonna go ahead and stop this video now. Just kind of keep things quick and to the point. Again, if you have any problems with that, ask before you move on. Make sure you understand what's happening, and then move on to that next step. So nice job with this one. We'll see you in the next video.